Hello everybody, welcome back to DeadByOCE. I'm your caster for tonight, Sirsmonk. Joined with me is Mayanase. We're going to be going into the second game of the night. This is Requiem versus Deception, heading into the Spirit game very shortly. I'm personally pretty excited for these games. I think they're going to be a lot closer than the tipping leads on in VIP tipping. It is weighted in Requiem's favour, but so was the Inferno versus Raccoons game last game. So I'm excited to see how this unfolds. We're going to be heading into the Spirit game very shortly, but what do you think of this matchup here, Mayonnaise?
I'm actually really excited for these sets tonight. I'm quite a big fan of Spirit and Blight myself. Not so much of a fan of Doctor, but I'm very, very keen to see the first two sets in particular. Particularly with the map change onto Blight, I think that's going to be really interesting to watch. But we are going to be loading in with Deception's pick of Spirit. We got Potato Savage playing the Spirit for Deception tonight. Going to be running a pretty standard build, popped Sloppy, Corrupt, and Agi, which is a pretty common build that I've seen, especially with Agitation, can prove to be quite useful. Being able to pull the survivors anywhere onto the map. With being on Wrecker's Yard being such a small map, but we're going to be getting a really early tag onto Orion here. And he's going to be playing this little pallet gym and just going to be going down. What a fast down for Potato Savage. That is exactly the start that you want for Deception.
Absolutely, that is an incredibly fast stand. Corrupt basically doing nothing and being a dead perk, but going to be taking him straight to basement, which is a very smart play. Very central location for your hooks, and with that agitation, I believe recently this season's been unbanned for Spirit. If you die anywhere near that basement and you're not dying like Deep 6 or Deep 12, you're going to get dragged kicking and screaming all the way down to the basement, which is absolutely not what you want to be happening. With the pop goes the Weasel here. I dare say Potato Savage is going to walk over here, maybe try and greet a quick tag onto a Shirelli here, but he's probably going to be making this window, but I think a couple of... Oh no, that's going to be a Sloppy Butcher tag and an unhook coming up in the basement very quickly. Potato Savage, I dare say, going to be facing straight back to the Killer Shack here as they exit the basement. Oh, not going for the Shack power. I think this is a bit of a mistake. I think Orion's trying to die 12, but a fantastic work waiting out the BT from Potato Savage, and this is going to be really quick second stage onto Orion. But no, we have the DS coming through. Very unfortunate for Potato Savage, but you are Spirit. You have incredible mobility to catch up. A bit of a short phase here just to break the power really quickly. I dare say Orion is going to be trying to die further edge map to avoid another situation where he's getting hooked in basement. Not going to be quite making the pallet. Oh, the dead hard not quite coming out in time. Very well played from our killer player here.
This is such a strong start, and Potato Savage is playing insane. Now we see that gen over at around 8 pop. Potato Savage not using his pop grids the Weasel before onto that gen, but I can only imagine there's not much else gen progression happening with just how fast these chases have been. The DS into the failed dead hard not really gaining Orion much more distance, but we do see another gen pop over at the 5 corner, and Potato Savage might just sit at this bottom side of the map. He does have somewhat of a loose 3 gen with Shack being one of them, and he can just kind of sit here and hold a choke and watch for any survivors that might be coming in. We do see the reset coming off onto Shirelli here. Survivors might need to slow it down a bit and take their time, but we do see the pull coming off onto Orion with an FTP play coming through from Gabu, but Potato Savage is not interested in Gabu, going to be going straight for that tunnel out. That's exactly what he needs, and Orion, a bit of a misplay, running straight face first into Potato Savage, and Orion might just be able to make Shack Pallet here. If he can make the top side of the map, or no, the bottom side, sorry. If you can make bottom side right now where all the gens have been completed, it is definitely where you want to be dying. And yes, it's exactly where he's going. Does have a little bit of does have a towel here to play with, but Potato Savage is just insane and hitting every single one of these phases, and that's going to be the tunnel out and the death onto Orion. Oh, actually, I take that back. We see the pallet save coming through, just buying a bit more time for Orion to last a little bit longer. Going to be playing this, but no, just going to be going down.
Yeah, straight into another power, but unfortunately Adam there kind of flopped out of it, so it won't be a second pallet save here, but that pallet save was pretty big. We're going to be seeing a death at 3 gens on Spirit. That's not really what you want, but we did have a really good death spot. I don't think it was that bad of a play for Orion to be running into the Spirit, closer to 12, as he probably did want to try and get the speed boost to go down to Shack, throw the pallet, and then head on down to 6, but pop goes the Weasel here, going to be coming in on this generator, as I believe the Rebecca did miss a skill check, which is not what you want. Because it gives the killer a lot of information, and we would be down to 1 gen if I think Rebecca hadn't missed that skill check. But Potato Savage in a really good position here, but if this chase isn't fast enough, it could spell not good tidings for Potato Savage. Granted, Spirit not really expected to 4K in the current balancing here, but Rebecca being loud as hell, going to be dying in the corner of the map. Oh my god, do not play Rebecca Chambers against the Spirit. I was deafened. My goodness.
I was just gonna say, probably the last survivor you want to be playing in a spirit set because my god, Rebecca is just so loud. But we are going to be getting our second fresh hook onto Yui, I think, or I think that's how you pronounce it. We did see the gen over at the truck in 11 get completed, so that is his loose 3-gen kind of split. So they do have a pretty decent gen spread for the survivors at the moment, but it is a 3v1. They can't afford to give any more tags away, and they have to be played as very carefully, pre-leaving those generators and keeping up those comms. But we see a noise notification on this gen. It's had a missed skill check, but no, Potato Savage is not interested. Just going to be standing on this hill to scope out the area and see if anyone's coming in for the unhook. But yeah, there's not much else really happening. We see the unhook coming onto Yui, and I think Potato Savage was just waiting for that unhook to come through. He does still someone have a bit of a 3-gen at this side of the map, including Shaq. But Potato Savage seem to have kind of lost them, but no, we do find these scratch marks and going to be going for the Rebecca again. And we heard the vault and just going to be vaulting straight into Potato Savage's arms. But yeah, this is if they're doubling that gen over at 12, I believe. Oh no, at 6, sorry. And they get that done, that could be pretty good, but they still have this bit of a 3-gen they have to work around, with Yui being hooked right in the center of it.
Yeah, it's not a great position to be in if you're Requiem. They have been working this gen by the fun bus, though, as it's no longer regressing, but Pop Goes the Wheels is going to be putting that down quite a smidgen, and it's going to be really rough to break this in a 3v1. We do see the gen over by 6 getting popped. I dare say Potato Savage is going to be going for the tunnel out here onto Rebecca Chambers. I don't think she's going to be lasting very long, maybe getting a window vault. I believe this is the bounce landing player. Oh, very good firecracker from Rebecca, though, but unfortunately she's louder than anything, so she's just going to be dying in the corner here. Not really buying a ton of time for Requiem, and being in a 2v1 at 1 gen, especially considering that gen at bus is around the 50% mark, you kind of struggle. I think they might be desperately trying to double it right now, potentially, but I think with Spirit's mobility here with this phase and this Pop Goes the Weasel, they're not going to be getting it done in time. Never say never. I've been wrong about these things before. Potato Savage quickly getting over, but no, going to be just getting that Pop Goes the Weasel. No it on Spirit either means that these chases are going to be taking quite long. I dare say Requiem might be able to get a fresh hook out the gate if they play it safe. Potato Savage may be looking to go for a bit of a slug play here, desperately looking around the generator, trying to find survivors nearby. We do find Ada here with the sprint burst, trying to maybe run the Spirit away from the gate as far away as possible, or maybe trying to stick around while Ace maybe works at 12 gate, trying to play this edge map here. I don't believe there's any edge map tiles here for Ada Wong. No, unfortunately, not going to be running straight down to the bus, hopefully to use the power that is still in the bus. But just trying to buy as much time as possible to Ace to at least get that door ready. I don't think it's feasible for him to be able to... But a fantastic double back from Ada is going to allow her to maybe get close to the gate. If Ace has this door ready, he could potentially take a decent body block here. But no, there's no progress in the door at all. He's all the way over at the other door. And I dare say this is going to be Ada dying up here at 12. Ace could maybe try and get that other door open and quickly get the hell out of dodge. And Ada could potentially play for a hatch play here. But I think Gavin might could just go close the... Oh no, he's lost Ada Wong. She's going for the door, I think. Or at least trying to get the hatch. We have seen her exhaustion. I nearly said exotic. Exhaustion being spent, so there's not going to be any live here, and that will spell the end for Gabo. That is going to be a 9-stage refresh for Potato Savage. Unfortunately, Ace getting out the door with all of his stages, but definitely a fantastic performance from both sides. A bit of a rocky start for Requiem, though.
Yeah, I gotta say that was a really good performance from both sides. Potato Savage starting off really strong. Kind of made me think that it was going to be a 4K1, but Requiem just pulling through until the end and achieving a pretty decent result for the Survivor side. So very well played to both sides then. And I believe, I'm not too sure who will be playing Spirit for Deception next. No, not Deception, sorry, Requiem. But we will see very shortly after this break. Alrighty, welcome back everyone to Requiem versus Deception, our second matchup of the evening tonight. We just saw Potato Savage from Deception, achieve a 9-stage 3 fresh result. So not a bad result for the killer and the survivor side, and we're now going to be seeing Gabu from Requiem trying to achieve a 9-stage full fresh or 10 stages. And we're going to be immediately finding the king himself, King Bulldozer, going to be stunning Gabu in the face. And this is exactly the chase that you want. It's at the corrupt side of the area, and the drop cracker, King Bulldozer, making a bit of distance, but there's someone else here, Potato Savage, getting caught out a little bit here and giving away a tag. And I can only assume Potato Savage is going to wrap towards Shaq, going to be dropping Shaq Ballad immediately and going back up towards the corrupt end of the map. Smug, how do you think this game is going to go?
Oh, I think it's going to actually be a little bit tough for Gabu here. He does have a stage win con though. He has to either get a 9-stage 4 fresh or a... Oh, that's a very nice down to Potato Savage into the pallet. There could be someone lurking near the pallet here, however, for potentially a save. Maybe our Sprint Burst player nearby, but no dice. Unfortunately, this will be the first hook of the game. But with that being said, he is playing for a 9-stage 4 fresh win con, or alternatively, I believe it's a 10-stage 3 fresh. Yeah, 9-stage 4 fresh or a 10-stage 3 fresh is the win con, I believe. So first hook going to be coming in here. Gabu going to be facing away from the hook to look for a gen to pop. We do see some crows landing over the generator here, and I think they're going to be committing to this generator, which might be a little bit dangerous. We get a tag onto LV Duck. Gabu ignoring the tag, maybe trying to greet for ace. No, he's going to be going straight back to the hook. His tunnel net is going to be Potato Savage, who is probably decisive strike, as he did take the aggro for King Bulldozer at the start of the game, running back down to the 6th side of the map, over by where there's a small group of pallets here. He has a good bit of resources to work with here. Going to be free-throwing that pallet. Very well timed from Savage. Gabu following him over to the bus, waiting for power to come back to hopefully get a bit of a faster down. But he's going to be taking the window here. Now, is this our dead hard player? We're going to have to wait and see what happens after this vault. It could be live, but no, going to be vaulting the pallet. We're going to be probably seeing a DS out of Potato Savage, and then afterwards a dead hard in the second half of this chase here. But that's remained to be seen. No decisive strike from Potato Savage. It's very surprising to see.
Don't know if you saw what I saw, Smunk, but I thought I saw Potato get onto the totem that was in the bus. Maybe he was trying to cancel the DS effect and wants to save it until the second time. I'm not too sure, but whether that was a misclick or whatever that was. But we are going to be getting Potato Savage back onto the hook, and Gabu is just going to be patrolling the area. We do see a very high progress gen next to the hook, which Gabu has a plight pop with. And he's just going to be looking around, seeing if anyone's sneaking for a save. We do see some, I think I saw some scratch marks over at the bus, and Gary's going to be checking it out, but no, there's nobody in sight. Whoever that is doing a very good job of stealthing, and we do see the unhook coming on to Potato Savage. We haven't really seen much gen pressure happening from our Deception survivors, and Gabu going to be going for that tunnel out onto Potato Savage once again. And Potato Savage needs to play for his life, going to be going down the pallet. And do we see the DS coming through into action? We do see the DS into the stun as well. Just another punch in the face there. And we can only assume that Potato Savage has dead hard, but no, going to be vaulting instead. We see the second gen pop in the background. I think that was towards the top side. Oh no, the bottom side of the map. Sorry, I always get the call-outs confused on this map. And that's going to be the death onto Potato Savage at 3 gens remaining. So making it a 3v1 quite earlier than the last game. I believe it was 2 gens in the last game. So it's a bit of a tough spot for Deception to be in right now. So they just have to play this super safe. But Gabu is playing on fire so far this set.
Yeah, from what we've seen as well on Deception's end of things, the gen pressure hasn't been the best at the moment. All of the generators are sort of clustered together. We have another sort of Shack 3-gen kind of here. This, I believe, is the most progressed gen here, and oh my god, King Bulldozer jump scare that actually made me flinch. I wasn't expecting him to be there, because I was going to talk about how the gen hadn't been touched, but we do see Bulldozer sort of standing still, trying to confuse Gabo a little bit, but a tag going to be coming out onto him rather quickly. Power coming back very fast. Bulldozer trying to drag him as far away from the active generators as possible, trying to play around this pallet here, but I think he's instead greeted it and is instead going to go die corner by this truck here, and Bulldozer trying again to sort of come back down the stairs to double back on his own scratch marks. Gabu not quite falling for it. He's going to be getting a very quick down onto King Bulldozer here as he goes to try and find an appropriate hook, which looks like it's going to be at the 12th side of the map here. which is a very rough spot anyway for the survives, because it's somewhat in a bit of a choke. When the unhook happens on Bulldozer, it's going to be very hard for Bulldozer to try and travel to the bottom side of the map, which is really where you want to die. You want to die by 6 because that's where none of the generators are. But a good hook spot for Gabbo. Pop goes the Wizard coming out onto this gen, and a very quick unhook coming out onto getting Bulldozer from the side of Deception. We don't know who's gotten this unhook here, but Bulldozer is our sprint burst player, as we've just seen. He's going to be using that endurance and borrowed time to try and make down to 6 as quick as possible. A cheeky crouch from Bulldozer, not quite working out, but maybe there's a flashlight somewhere. No dice, unfortunately. But yeah, very quick second stage for Bulldozer.
Yeah, Gabbo just hitting those phases exactly right, but yeah, really unfortunate for Bulldozer trying to make his way towards the other side of the map, down the bottom side, but just not being able to make it in time. And they are still trying to push this gen over at 2. Maybe so we see the gen block coming through, but maybe it's time to drop this gen and try and work on a deeper gen, maybe at 12, or the one over at 9, because they're just getting nowhere with this generator here. It has been kicked too many times and losing a lot of progress. We do see some faint scratch marks here. This, I believe, is Riley going to be dropping this pallet instantly and going towards the bottom side of the map. So Gabbo is going to be instantly leaving this and going to be going straight back for King Bulldozer. I can only assume Gabbo is going to get that second tunnel out, but we are going to give a tag to LV Duck because why not? And Gabbo has a good idea of where everyone is. He knows that Riley has gone down towards the bottom side and LV Duck got the unhook, so he can safely extend to this side and get this down and death onto King Bulldozer, making it a 2v1 at 2 gens. This is not where you want to be for Deception.
Not at all, especially considering you really need as many stages out the door as you can. You can't afford to sort of leave any survivors injured. I think you either need to crank the gens right now and get a lot more than one stage out the door. Like, you need Duck and Riley out the door to win. If you're Deception, you need at least one stage on the survivor. I'm struggling with my words at the moment, but you need one full fresh and then one stage on the survivor that was trying to get tunneled out here. But with Duck still injured, it's going to be very easy for Gabbo to find him. Another Pop Goes the Weasel, I think, coming out. No, he hasn't used Pop Goes the Weasel. That generator was still regressing. They're actually doing this generator at 9, which will now be popped. I think with this Pop Goes the Weasel being applied to this gen, unless either Riley or Duck have an absolute crazy juicer of a chase and the other survivor manages to crank out 2 gens, I think this is GG's for Deception, and they might need to try their efforts for a Blight and Doctor win if they're looking to win this series. But yeah, it's not looking great for them at the moment, Maya.
No, and especially since this was Deception's pick as well, losing your pick is not how you want to start the matchup, but there's absolutely no way I can see this kind of returning into Deception's favor in this Spirit set, a 2v1, and we do find Riley going to be giving a tag, trying to push this gen over at 2 once again. Just keeps getting pushed off of that generator and is going to be initiating this chase down the side of the map, and Gabbo feels very much comfortable to do so. He does have a lot of time on his hands, so he can do this, and with his phases tonight, he's been hitting them just spot on. So this is going to be a very, very quick down onto Riley, and I can assume Gabbo will probably just pick this because Riley is fresh and is going to be looking for LV Duck, who is still injured, so it won't be that hard to try and find them.
At this point in time, I think if you're Duck, you need to try and... Actually, no, I think it was Riley who had the medkit, but you need to try and stay hidden for as long as possible and maybe try play for a hatch, because there's no point working on the gens at the moment. You kind of need to play for a Tiger, but unfortunately being caught out. But I think this is Sprint Burst. I thought it was Bulldoze earlier, but I guess that was live. But Sprint Bursting over to the hook, getting the unhook onto Riley. No, he's going to be trying to play around this pallet, but Gabbo's going to be phasing out of the pallet, and I dare say this will be very quick down onto the Atom here. Playing it very safe though. Ace's groans on the hook, kind of masking his traversal there, which assisted Duck into peeling away from the hook. And he's just kind of going to have to run the Spirit for as long as possible and try and play for a hatch. I don't think it's going to be happening, as we've seen Gabbo. He's very accurate with these phases so far, and there's not really any resources for Duck to use at this end of the map. This is all sort of used up at the moment, but doing his best to sort of play around what he has been given here. Gabbo keeping chase as best as possible. Duck running to the top of 12, trying to make it to these 2 powers that still remain at 12. This is a decent power to play around, but you are against the Spirit. You kind of have to play 50-50, but a short phrase from Gabbo will spell the end of LV Duck, and this will be a very clean 4K2 for Requiem.
Yeah, very, very well played by Gabbo there. 4K2 versus a 9 stage 3 result from Potato Savage. being Deception's pick, it is definitely very heavy favored into Requiem's side. So very well played to Requiem. On the Survivor side as well, it was looking a little bit dicey for them on their Survivor side, but they managed to get a fresh out the door. So very, very well played. But yeah, I believe our next set is Blight on Ironworks, which I'm really interested to see. And I think Potato Savage is playing killers, all 3 killers for them. Oh no, I think LB Duck might be playing Blight. I'm not 100% sure, but we will confirm after the intermission. So very well played to Requiem that they're going to be taking the first set point on the Spirit set. And yeah, we're going to take a very short intermission break while we set up the next game for you all.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the second game of Deception versus Requiem. We're going to be heading into the Blight set on the newly appointed Ironworks of Misery. This is a new map for Blight in OCE, so I'm excited to see how it unfolds. As we load in here, we're going to be seeing Cura on the Blight, bringing a pretty interesting build as far as Blight's concerned, with Rancor, Dying Light, and the as per usual Pop and Corrupt. We're probably going to be seeing a decent stealth out here from Deception, although the stream, never mind, the stream hasn't frozen, ignore me, as Kiro tries to find some stealthy survivors, maybe trying to wait out Corrupt on this side of the map. What do you think about Ironworks of Misery for Blight, Maya?
Personally, I'm not really sure. I can't really make a comment on it yet because, I mean, I know Katjam hasn't really done many scrims on Blight Ironworks, but I can only imagine it is a bit of misery, some would say. But we are going to be seeing a bit of progress on this gen over here. I don't even know the callouts for this map either. That's just how little we know about it. But going to be taking chase onto Resi and is going to be pathing his way to Shack. Going to be dropping that, not giving away a tag, which is great. I think the key thing about going up against Blight is that you don't want to give a tag in the first 5 rushes that the Blight uses. So very well played by Resi here, using that sprint burst to kind of avoid that first hit, but going to be playing this really, really well over at the Shack, and does make this little filler and can path his way back to the Shack. Doesn't have Shack palette anymore though, so can just run around for a little bit, buy a bit more time at the Corrupt side of the map. I don't think he has many other pallets here to kind of work with, but going to be crouching to dodge, and what is going on? Kira is going everywhere. Resi trying to dodge with the crouch. I was going to say as well, Smug, I've been seeing a lot of kind of unique builds happening with Blight. Being an S tier killer doesn't really have access to your luxury perks such as Pain Res. But I do see, I know Rancor is quite frequently used just to get that bit of info, but we see the first gen pop, and this chase coming through from Resi has been insane. We see 2 generators pop, so really well played by Resi here. That chase was insane, so very well done to Resi there, and Kiro probably can't really afford to kind of camp this or tunnel. Might have to start going for some fresh hooks because Deception are locked in this set, and they are cranking these gens, and just, yeah, they're ready to take this set because they didn't win their Spirit one.
Yeah, they came ready to win. Sometimes we do often see players and teams winning each other's sets. Oh, very nice tag onto Resi, applying a deep very quickly. But we see a 3rd gen pop. Deception on top of the gens this game, learning their mistakes from the Spirit set where they kind of didn't have enough gen pressure on the Wrecker's Yard there, but clearly they've scrimmed a bunch of Blight because they're smashing these generators, and we're only on one section. Oh, Resi's caught a Pokemon! He's caught a Blight! Oh my god, he bounced last minute and got the down. That was scary. He's going to be getting a quick second hook onto Resi. I wasn't expecting him to bounce there, but going to be hooking him mid-map as close as possible to this little cluster of generators. While Deception has done a fantastic job of getting a lot of the generators done, they've kind of left what appears to be a decent little 4-gen for Blight to traverse here. There's going to be a proper pain in the ass to break, especially considering that he does have Pop Goes the Weasel. Unfortunately, sliding off the tree there, but this is a juicy generator to Pop, going to be getting a ton of value out of that Pop Goes the Weasel. I dare say he'll probably be rotating back to hook as he does see someone coming into the unhook right now, but they opted to not to, and instead have just left Resi on the hook, maybe to hang out there for a little bit, and going to be wrapping later on to get the unhook, so he just doesn't get ton of that immediately. The downside for this little generator split here, though, is that the survivors do have ease of access to the main building. Main building ironwork's not the best thing you want to be chasing, and it's kind of a pain in the ass because you can't really cut off anyone if they do go upstairs. You just have to awkwardly follow them, which isn't the worst thing for the Blight. But Hero going to be coming to Dwight here, trying to get the down quickly onto Resi, but opted to instead leave because he is aware that one of these generators... Oh my god, a fantastic cracker out of Potato Savage here. He has opted to go for fresh hooks here, as he does know that gen that just popped was about to be popped. That other gen that he popped earlier is going to pop very soon, so he's going to be actually probably getting some low stages here, mate. This is not looking good.
Yeah, this is not looking good for Kiro at all. This gen pressure from Deception is insane right now. Definitely what they needed in the Spirit set, but they are locked in to this Blight set. But I think Kiro is kind of panicking a little bit here. He's under a lot of pressure right now. Potato Savage trying to buy a bit of time over at this side of the map. I dare say that gen over at behind that building, I don't know, the water tower, is going to pop any second now because it did have a lot of progress done. But yeah, we do see the last generator popping. So with only 2 stages on the board for Kiro, he does kind of need to start getting some fresh hooks. I believe Riley is our fresh. I think Riley is fresh as well. So if Kiro can find Riley and get that Rancor value, that'll be an extra 3 stages in his back pocket. But we do see the gate opening immediately, and I dare say they're just going to be taking the outs here, Sirsmonk. And they are.
Yeah, I think that's not a bad call to make, because why risk going in and feeding the Blight more stages? We have Potato Savage hooked very far away from all of the hooks here, and he is Blight, super high mobility. Hero hitting that tree, obviously not very happy with the result, with 2 fresh 5 stages, which for a Blight, that's not great. Granted, we haven't seen how well Blight's perform on Ironworks. It is a very new map for him, so people are still learning them, so maybe for the first little bit of the season, we do see some low stages on the Blight and Ironworks here. But yeah, a very, very beatable win con for Deception's Blight here. So we're going to be heading into a short intermission soon while we swap around the teams here, and we will see you all very shortly. All right, everybody, welcome back to the second half of the Blight set. We did see a very interesting result from Requiem side of things last game, with Kiro on their own pick only setting a 5-stage 2 fresh, which is a bit unexpected for a Blight, but this is a new map and a new environment here on Ironworks and Misery, so maybe we will be seeing some low stages. But going into the game, we do see LB having a pretty reasonable win condition here of 6 stages, 2 fresh. Loading in, we do see a very interesting pick. Instead of opting for Dying Light, we're seeing Gearhead, one of the only aura reading perks, I believe, that remains unbanned in the competitive DBO season. But he's going to be finding a chase into Orion at the start here, playing around this Phillip out next to a 4-lane, waiting for his power to come back so he can use a power, maybe trying to bait a Vault out of Orion. No live for Orion, and he's going to be taking a tag and staying at the filler. Duck breaking the power so it forces him away from Shack and sort of into the middle of nowhere. Unless his Fire Barrel saves his life, unfortunately Orion is going to be going down very quickly, much faster than we saw the previous Blight get, so this is a giant boon for Deception here. We do see Gearhead is active in the bottom right, so Duck is going to be looking around for some auras, trying to get a gauge on what gens are being worked on and where he can pop. But those two are coming through here. What do you think about the match so far, Maya?
Yeah, that was a really strong start for LB Duck there. Orion kind of getting caught out of position there, not having many resources to work with as Resi did in the last game. But we're going to be going over to the main building. That doesn't have a lot of progress, but we're going to be popping it anyway. Whoever was working that gen has already pre-left, and LB Duck is confident to go back for this tunnel out onto Orion. But no, we see the FTP coming through from Gabu, and Gabu going to be going down instantly, and LB Duck doesn't want a bar of it, wants to go straight for his tunnel out onto Orion. I think if that was me in that scenario, I would just take the hook onto Gabu, and Gabu could have been my new tunnel out, but maybe Gabu might be the dead hard DS player. But going to be continuing this chase onto Orion. Has this little 4-lane to work with, not too much, but does have another tile over, a little cheeky Ormond tile, but I think this might be a lucky break play coming through from Orion. Does gain a little bit of distance, but doesn't quite make it to the Shack, and is going to be going down again. And I don't think Orion is our DS player. Oh no, they are our DS player. My bad, but Orion does get to make the Shack pallet. So this next chase has to be long enough to get some gen progression happening, as we haven't seen a gen pop yet. And LV Duck looking a little bit lost at the moment. Seems to have lost Orion. This could be really bad if... Oh, no. I take back what I say. We find Orion. If I was going to say, if LV Duck lost Orion there, that would have been a lot of time wasted and a bit of a blunder for LV Duck. But no, we're going to get that down. And the first gen does come through. The second one, my bad. But I don't really know what to comment on this kind of state at the moment. LV Duck is in a pretty good position, but Requiem are getting these generators done pretty fast as well.
Yeah, Deception are definitely in a bit of a better position than Requiem was at this point in the game last match. It looks like Duck is sort of checking this back end of the map here, trying to see if anyone's stealthing for the unhook. He's got Orion on the second set. I do think it was a bit of a mistake not hooking Gabu immediately, because you're playing for pretty low stages. Getting that second fresh hook right then and there is pretty good. Because then if you get a third fresh hook on someone else, even if it's not Gabu, that's a giant boon for you as given your current sort of situation, what you're playing for. But he has also taken a chase all the way down on the wrong side of the map here, away from generators. That tag onto Gabu is going to let him get the unhook here, maybe a quick down. I would be hooking this right now if I was Duck, but no, instead going to be coming into the tunnel out onto Orion. DS already used up, but we do know Orion doesn't have Dead Hard here, so he doesn't have a lot of resources to play around, and is just kind of running into a dead zone. Maybe a quick down from Duck here with a little blind. No, he does have Dead Hard. My apologies, I must be seeing things. But that's not going to be great, because that will allow Orion to sort of run to the main building, potentially get a hit take from someone lurking nearby, and also give him access to a lot of useful resources. We do see a third gen pop in the background, but Orion finally going to be dying here as Gabu is fully reset very quickly, which is huge for Requiem. Twice Gabu has gone down saving Orion, and twice he's been able to get up and get fully recovered very quickly. But we do see the first death coming out on the side of Requiem here. Duck does have 2 gens left to sort of work towards his win condition. He only needs 3 more stages. He just needs to get 1 hook and then tunnel out another survivor, and then he's as good as gold. He does have a pop goes the Weasel here onto this decently high progressed gen at the hill. Someone must be lurking nearby. This may be Gabu as well as someone else. Whoever reset him could be lurking nearby, but Duck opting instead to rotate away from that area and maybe check on his other gens up at... I'm going to call this 1, but I don't think it is, but he does find you here as he gets a very cheeky power stun onto Duck, but with only using 3 charges, that power's going to come up very quickly, and this is a decently mind-gameable pallet. Oh, a cheeky swing from Duck, and going to work out in his favor as he misses the chase on you. You does have a lot of resources as he runs over the top side of the map here. He has plenty of fillers, plenty of task, but unfortunately not quite getting the power throw there as we see the second fresh hook coming in on the side of Deception.
Yeah, so that only means that LV Duck needs to hook, is it 1 more fresh of any kind, right? Because it was a 5-stage 2 fresh result. If he can hook another fresh hook, that means that will be the win comment. We do see a lot of gem pressure happening on this generator, but LV Duck is just going to be taking away that progress with Pop and Gearhead coming through. I can't say I've seen any auras come through yet with the Gearhead, unless I'm not really seen it properly. We do see some scratch marks and a firecracker in play here over at Shack. I'm not entirely sure who that was. I'm going to assume that was Shirelli, and Gabu has gone for the unhook onto Yui. If Yui can get reset pretty fast, they can and play this really safe and get these last 2 gens done. They do have a pretty decent gen split to work around. So they just need to make these next 2 chases last as long as possible, but we are going to be getting a tag onto Shirelli here, but Shirelli doesn't really have much else to work with because Orion already used these resources. But no, we actually do have a pallet here. I can only imagine that Yui and Gabu are just cranking these gens, but Shirelli losing the mind game is going to be going down.
Yeah, it is kind of hard to see. This is, I believe, is this the win con now? This is the 3rd fresh?
I think it's, if it's 5 stage, 3 fresh. I think it's win con because it's 3 fresh, right?
I think so. Either way, he probably just needs 1 more hook.
1 more
just
hook,
in case.
yeah.
Like, I bet so that will be. He'll just either tunnel out Shirelli, which was a very quick unhook with Blight literally right next to him. He's opting instead to just run away. Not sure why. Maybe checking on the gen at the bottom here. Suspecting maybe someone's about to try and top it off, but no dice, unfortunately. Yeah, it's a bit hard to see any value coming in from Gearhead. I'm not quite sure about the pick because it's especially hard to see auras because Gearhead will only activate if there's a survivor working on the generator, and if the aura's on the other side of the generator, it's going to be very hard to see the aura and get value from the perk. So not a lot of value coming through for Gearhead here, but maybe he was getting a lot of value in scrims, and that's why he bought it. We do see a full reset coming through onto Shirelli, kind of making this last look a little bit more difficult. I think Duck maybe leaving the... Hello, Gabu. He was warming himself by the fire, apparently, as he runs into an area where there's essentially no resources. He does have this 1 power to play around, but Duck can very safely play around this, and this will absolutely be the win con, as this is the final fresh hook on the side of Requiem.
Yeah, extremely well played by LV Duck there, and very, very well played by our Deception survivors earlier, but that means we will be going into the tiebreaker set, which is Doctor on the Wretched Shop, which I know, Tequila, that you love, Smonk. So we do actually finally see some Gearhead value. Someone kind of running away from the generator at this bottom side of the map. I believe this is Shirelli. Trying to path away from it. Does have this gold filler to kind of work with. Does he know his check spots right? But LV Duck's going to be breaking this immediately, and he's going to be leaving and going to be using his pop on this gen. LV Duck, I think, only knows that this is the win con met. He can kind of just play for the best result possible, might try and play for a 4K 0, but they do have a pretty decent gen split, so it is possible to still get some outs from the Requiem survivors this game. So we're going to be continuing to watch this game play out. We see, I think that was that second wind onto Gabu there, I'm not quite sure, but we're going to be initiating this chase onto Yui, who has broke away to main building. So LV Duck is going to be dropping this, and it's going to be checking on this gen. We see a missed skill check from Gabu. I'm going to be waiting on this hill and going to be playing this filler. And
yeah,
not
he
quite
has
getting a tag.
a very ambitious swing there from Duck, but I think Gabu kind of turned into that one a bit. That wasn't the best play there. He tried to flare out and just sort of slammed his head directly into the icy cane that LV Duck has, but he still has plenty of fills to work with sort of in this mid-map area, as he is probably going to be trying to do a bit of a cheeky tech here, and does get a very nice down onto Gabu, as he will be heading into the second stage. No DS here because he was working on the generator from the missed skill check. But yeah, once this game is all said and done, we're going to be heading into the Doctor set on the Wretched Shop. Yeah, as you said, not my favorite killer in the world. I don't like Doctor very much. I think he's a bit boring to play as in the game, and he's kind of bald, but that's okay. But yeah, we're going to be seeing how that plays out, because I don't believe Deception will have Popcorn on the Doctor. They're going to be having someone else playing for them. On good old Doctor there. Duck choosing not to chase. Instead, we're going to be using Pop Goes the Weasel on this generator by the eye filler that he's just broken. And once again, leaving, not really looking for. I think that was you over by that eye filler. Rotating instead down to the hillside of the map to try and find whoever's working on this. They do have a pretty good gen split, so there is a chance they can just get one person out the door. A very interesting not hit there coming out from Shirelli, but not a great power drop getting resulting into a tag as he tries to play this sort of jungle gym.
Yeah, Shirelli's going to be playing for their life here, but no, losing the mind game, going to try and jump locker. We do see the Gearhead value onto this gen over here. And LV Duck is going to choose to slug Shirelli. Going to be going straight to this generator. I don't think that gen is close to popping at all. LV Duck is just sliding off everything. I've heard from a few people that Blight is quite iffy on this map. The Macmillan trees are just... Even I've played on... the Macmillan maps on Blight and pubs, and it's just so frustrating sliding off all of the trees on this map. The butter trees, yeah, exactly. We do find Gabu here, and LV Duck going to be landing a really nice rush onto Gabu here, and I believe this is Death for Gabu?
Yeah, this is Death.
Death, yeah. So Death Hook onto Gabu, making a 2v1 at 1 gen, and we do see the reset coming off onto Shirelli, and I can only assume they might be doubling that gen over at the bottom side of the map, I would hope, but I don't think they will be able to get it done in time. They might just choose to kind of two-split these gens. But we find Shirelli over at this almond tile, once again going to be taking this chase, and going to be vaulting straight into LV Duck. I think that's that was life he was trying to use there, but again, the butter trees is coming through. How did that not pop?
This kill's awful. Collision and Dead by Daylight is notoriously absolutely garbage, but regardless, there's no resources to afford Shirelli to use, so he's just going to be going down, unfortunately.
Yeah, and LB's choosing to slug this, and we do see a survivor pre-leaving this generator with that gearhead value finally coming through. We haven't seen much value from gearhead all game, only up until now, but yeah, 4K. I mean, I'm gonna say it's a 4K1 result from LB is a pretty pretty decent result from LB so he's got to be pretty happy with that. But gonna be taking this last chase onto Yui. Very nice little spin crouch check. I'm not sure what that was, and LB gonna try and swing at the window. Gonna be initiating a little bit of a 1v1 action happening here. LB gonna be hitting Yui around this fire barrel, and Yui going to be just legging it towards any resource that they may have. We do have the Spiller still at bot mid, and LB just going to be rushing away from mid. We see the pickup coming through onto Shirelli, and they have split off. They are still really locked in and really want to get this last gen done. But Yui doesn't have access to Shack Pallet here. I'm going to be mind gaming this window, but just breaking away. Very nice chase coming through for Yui, and once again, the trees are just so smooth.
There'd be holes in my wall if that was happening to me. So help me God, I would be losing my damn mind. We do see Gearhead once again going off, so I think Duck's going to be looking around trying to find any auras in the generators for Shirelli, because he does want this 4K1. We see a Crow go up by this generator that is decently progressed, and I dare say with this rush maybe, swing! Let's go! That is going to be securing the 4K1 as we do know use in the basement, but Duck has to go hook them first. Because if he hooks Shirelli's on a death hook, I believe, so that might end up with India getting a hatch escape there, and he doesn't want that. He absolutely wants to secure his 4K1, which is a pretty good result for the Blight, especially on Ironworks, a very uncharted map, and also given the amount of sliding that happened in this match, which was kind of insane. I'd say Duck's probably really happy with the result. Each team winning their opponent's picks, which is something that happens. It's a weird anomaly sometimes, but it will all be going down to the decider. Oh my God, what is going on with this tree? Is it real? It's not real. He didn't even hit it with the damn M1. It doesn't exist. But yeah, we're gonna be having it all wrap up in the Doctor match where he's on the Wretched Shop, I think, which is different from his last season's map, which I think was Cold 2 for some reason. Yeah. But yeah, going to be hooking Shirelli, and then we'll be heading into a Doctor set. What do you think about Doctor, Maya?
I'm personally not a fan of a Doctor. Not a fan of Doctor, full stop. But I'm excited to see who will be taking this. Who'll be coming out as the winners of this setup, because it has been pretty tight, I would say, Smonk. Both teams winning each other's picks, which is as you said before, it's happened a few times, especially last season. So yeah, I think, as you said, I don't think Popcorn will be playing Doctor for Deception like he normally does. I think it is Potato Savage, I believe. I'm not entirely sure who would be playing it for Requiem, but let me just... I think we'll be seeing Deception playing Doctor first on the killer side. So stick around, everyone. We're going to be taking a short intermission, and we'll see you all very shortly. Alrighty, welcome back everyone to Requiem versus Deception. We are at the tiebreaker set, which is Doctor. We saw Deception take the win on the Blight set earlier, which was Requiem's pick. So both teams winning each other's picks, and we are now at the tiebreaker set of Doctor, which we all love and know best. Potato Savage going to be playing the Doctor this evening for Deception, and we're going to be immediately taking chase onto Gabu here. I'm going to be smartly pre-dropping that, and Potato is going to be breaking that instantly, and Gabu does have quite a little bit of resources to work with here. Going to be pre-dropping this, and Potato Savage is just going to be breaking that instantly, but Gabu doesn't really make much else, and we see Gabu's going to be trying to get back to the main building. I think I saw someone lurking in the background for maybe a body block. Maybe they're going to try and get him towards the corrupt end, the bottom side of the map, which is exactly what they are doing. So very early body block coming through from Orion here, and now Gabu can make Shack, and Orion going to be breaking away here. So not a bad start, I would say, for our Requiem survivors, but unfortunately Orion might be going down very shortly, as Potato Savage switching targets, and it's going to be going for a more safer chase, and that is going to be a down onto Orion here.
As far as Doctor downs go, that was very fast. Usually a lot of playing in Doctor sets is hit takes. You'll see a ton of hit takes coming through in the survives because Doctor kind of sucks and can't do anything about it because he sucks. So we're going to be seeing Potato Savage going towards the main building side of the map to potentially use his Static Blast. Static Blast does immediately tear up all survivors that are caught into it. We do see a gen being doubled over the side of the map, so no one really rapping for save at this point in time, as Gabu, I think, maybe might be going for it, as he's in tier 3 and can't really work on any objectives. Let's see if we see a glowing red Ada off in the distance, and we do. It looks like he's going to try and wrap for it, so I dare say Potato Savage will be heading back to the hook. The one thing Doctor is really good at is camping when survivors are coming in for saves, because he can just constantly shock the hook, and then you can't get an unhook. But he kind of has to sort of keep his distance and go in at an appropriate time, because you can't afford to stay too close to the hook due to the anti-camp mechanic. But I dare say, due to how far away he's been, unless a good double save comes in here on the side of Requiem, we'll see Orion go to second stage, but it looks like Potato Savage might be getting, yes, he barely gets the shock off there, and Gabu not quite getting the save, and this will be, I think, Orion maybe going, no, not quite going second, but Potato Savage does get 2 sloppy tags in favor for it, and he's going to be committing to the tunnel out here onto Orion. Orion trying to drop Shack, but a good shot comes out from Potato Savage. He's not going to be able to get it. The haste, hopefully, from the unhook, getting Orion to somewhere safe here, maybe a pallet. Ooh, not quite making the pallet here. There could potentially be a survivor nearby for a pallet tip, and there was. That's going to be the 4th tag onto all the survivors. All the survivors are injured with Sloppy Butcher. This AoE Static Blast is going to put 2 of them into tier 2 as well. It's looking really messy for Requiem here, as Orion is going to be hitting second stage and being hooked right next to this decently progressed gen. This is looking awful for Requiem here.
Yeah, this is looking quite disastrous. Those 2 free sloppy tags onto the double save attempt, and then the extra tag onto Yui there is not what you want. I think Requiem are kind of desperate to keep Orion in the game. Maybe Yui was trying to set up for a pallet save, but we do see the reset coming off onto Shirelli. And I don't know what you could do in this situation as Requiem, whether you take this time to fully reset or just get on those gens and start cranking them, because I've only got 1 gen done, and that the next progressed gen is literally right next to the hook, so they kind of have to make a decision here. But we do see the reset coming off onto Yui. This is value time that's being wasted. Maybe they're going to accept that Orion is going to go, is going to die on the hook here, but no, we do see Yui trying to pressure this unhook, and we see someone else as well, trying to come in for the unhook, but this is just looking so messy, Smug. I don't know. This is just not looking great at all. We see Shirelli coming in, taking another tag, but Orion does make Shark and does still have access to the Shack pallet here and can safely drop that, but I don't even think at this point that the other 3 survivors have time to reset. They're a bit behind on their gen pressure and need to start cranking those gens, but Orion's going to be trying to make their way back to the bus here, and they do still have access to that pallet, but it's going to be really hard to play. But Orion's going to be running towards the top side of the map, has these magic tiles to kind of work with, but nothing really else. Does have a filler pallet that Orion's decided not to path towards, and is just going to be going down, and that's going to be a death at 4 gens with 3 other injured survivors. Is it not what you want on the side of Requiem?
Not at all. That was a disastrous start to the game for Requiem. For essentially that entire second stage there on Orion, we had Shirelli and you resetting each other to go for a double set, because that's kind of what you need to do. And then the entire time you had Gabu maybe on a gen, this one, that's getting popped just now. And so for all of that time wasted, all of those hit takes, that double save, that reset time, you got 1 gen done. That's really bad. You're in a 1v3 against Doctor with a lot of depleted resources, and 2 injured survivor, or 1 injured survivor actually, but that shock's going to result in a tag. Gavin may be going for a power stunt to try and make some distance, but it's just looking so bad for Requiem. This is probably going to end up in a 4K unless we have an absolutely insane mega juicer chase here coming out from the survivors. Gabu, unfortunately getting caught out by the Doctor, but not vaulting, instead going around the other side, going to be palming to the window, maybe trying to make it away from this 4 lane. He can't really afford to stay here for much longer, as the Doctor is going to eventually get a decent shock off and prevent him from going somewhere bad. Oh, the medium is just not it. That's going to be down on Gabu and another fresh hook. Shirelli also tier 3 for a good chunk of that chase, meaning that he wasn't able to do any gens there and was maybe lurking lurking around for a hit take, but yeah, that's another pain res now. I don't know why I thought he had pop, but that's going to be the second pain res in the game. Probably hitting this generator that was Orion was hooked to earlier that they were trying to get done, but this is looking like a 4K, and you really don't want to give big boulder man him Carter any 4Ks, because you kind of want to get outs against him, because God.
Yeah, being such a low tier killer, you don't really expect to see a Doctor getting a 4K. It is a very low stage killer. So, and I can't help but notice as well, the bottom side of this map is kind of stacked with generators. You can only see one generator that's towards the top side. So Potato Savage doesn't really need to leave this. He can safely kind of patrol these gens. He does have a bit of a 3-gen he can safely go to. We see a little bit of progress on this gen over at 7. I think that was Shirelli trying to push that, but no sign of Yui. I don't know if they're trying to sneak into the save here, but Potato Savage just going to be maybe confirming second stage onto Gabri here, and then going to try and pressure someone else. But no, Potato Savage is going to be taking this chase onto Shirelli, and we do see Gabri hitting second stage on the hook. So Potato Savage can now go for his next fresh hook survivor, which is Shirelli, and if he does get this down very, very quickly, that will be another pain res. So this is looking like a very dire situation for Requiem. These chases need to be insanely long if they want to kind of get up to date with the gem pressure. So Shirelli going to be playing this corner pallet here, but doesn't really have many other resources to work with, and is going to be opting to die in the corner of the map. And I kind of noticed Gabri still hasn't been taken off the hook by Yui here. Maybe they're trying to do a gen? I'm not too sure. Well, as I say, we do see Gabri finally coming off the hook. That was a lot of time wasted for that chase, because it wasn't a bad chase from Shirelli there, and Gabri only just getting off the hook now. And with Gabri being in tier 3 and Shirelli on the hook, they're going to be so behind on their gem pressure.
Yeah, it's looking very rough. We do have a decently high progress gen here, and one saving grace is that Shirelli was not hooked on a pain res, so there wasn't any giant regression happening in the game there. But we do see Gabri screaming off here. He's still tier 3, which means no, he hasn't really done anything since the unhook. He hasn't been able to do any gens, do any resets, anything like that. So Potato Savage going to be committing to Gabri while he's on tier 3. Actually, no, he's going to be peeling away and maybe looking for you, who is his last fresh hook, who I dare say will either is committing to a generator off of Narnia or wrapping for the unhook right now. But it doesn't look like they are, unless they're stealthing nearby. But no static blast is going to be very hard to find you, as they're only in tier 1 madness. Yeah, I guess Gabri was on the hook for a long time because he was trying to get this gen on this side of the map done to try and not get a 4K3, but unfortunately not quite being able to do that without Gabri dying, and also, the Draka coming through on the side of Potato Savage. Shirelli hitting second stage. This is really bad. This might actually be a 4K3, which is not what you want, but I think best result here might genuinely be 4K2, unless, the survivors giga lock in and go for an insane run in a giant dead zone and FOV Potato Savage 47 times in a row.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Sirsmonk at best, this might be a 4K2. We do see the unhook coming up to Shirelli. Gabri and Shirelli are both death hook. Shirelli still not being pain res, so Potato might just go for the tunnel out onto Shirelli here and get his last pain res stack. We see Gabri kind of playing for a body block here. Maybe Yui is sitting on a gen off of Narnia, as you said before, trying to get that last, get another gen done. Try not to make it a 4K3, make it a bit more achievable for the Requiem killer side. A nice body block coming through from Gabri here, but I don't think Shirelli has much else to really work with. At the main building, he does have this pallet to kind of work with. Potato Savage has just been really timing these shocks very well, but as I say, it does get stunned in the face. I'm hoping that Yui is working on a gen over at the bottom side to get it done, and Shirelli's going to be going over to these matchstick tiles once again, and does have this edge map filler to play with. Going to be smartly pre-dropping that, but Potato Savage going to be breaking that instantly. Shirelli just breaking away and vaulting straight into Potato Savage's face. So this is our last pain res stack, and then is a death onto Shirelli, but not being able to get that pain res in time for that third generator to pop. So if Yui and Gabri can play this right, they might. I highly doubt it. It's going to be very, very difficult. They might be able to try and squeeze one more gen out, but it's going to be very, very difficult, Sirsmonk.
Honestly, you're in this position. We did see an illusion over there by that gen, but in this position, you might even just want to bait him towards Gafu and die off in a corner, because you hasn't been hooked. They're fresh. If you get you out the hatch, that's big. That's huge. That's big money. So
Yeah.
I think Potato Savage is opting to instead not take the bait and Gabu, who's running around in a dead zone, and is just going to go back to his gens, kick some gens, and try and look for you. He's going to be getting his static blast up, sort of patrolling gens, and he's going to hard commit to you, I think, because he can't afford to down and kill Gabu, because where are the doors? We got one down. I think we got one over by Shaq. So the doors are pretty garbage. You can't really play around those. He kind of has to play around his static blast and look for you, and I think he did. Oh dear, that's not good. You really don't want you getting found, but unfortunately, Potato Savage successfully finding you is going to sort of eliminate any chances for getting a fresh hook out of the hatch here, with Gabu probably just trying to crank one last gen, maybe make it a 4K1 instead of a 4K2. If you're lucky, as you is healthy, granted, so hopefully can try and squeeze a decently long chase out here. However, not a lot of resources. Shack Power is gone. Don't have any fillers left on the map. It's very bored, much like Herman Carter, the Doctor himself. But you're just going to be holding W here as he runs into sort of this 4 lane. But running back into the Shack side of the map, I dare say, trying to kite Potato Savage away from a highly progressed generator. Savage actually dropping the chase and opting to patrol the generators, maybe trying to get Gabu off of this gen over here. Really wanting this 4K2, I think. He does not want to go for a 4K1. He wants that big, juicy 4K2.
Yeah, no, and as he should, Spunk, but we do see the down coming through onto Gabu, and he's going to be actually picking this and hooking, so maybe he's confident. Oh, we did see an illusion over at that gen, so I think he has a pretty good idea of where Yui is stealthing at the moment, but it is going to be the death for Gabu, and Potato Savage is going to be trying to find our last survivor here, Yui, our last fresh, and yes, we do indeed find them, and Potato Savage is going to be achieving this 4K2 result on the Doctor, an insane result, not one that you see quite often. As I said earlier, Doctor is a low tier killer and it's expected to get low stages, so Yui is going to be dying in the corner of the map here, and Potato Savage is going to be picking Yui up, going to be putting him on the hook, and that's going to be a 4K2 secured. So really well played by Potato Savage there. I think the massive, probably the most obvious mistake from the Requiem side was that start game. All of those hit takes and free tags was just absolutely, it's just a mess. So I'm not sure who will be playing Doctor for Requiem next. I can only assume it might be Gabu. So Potato Savage is going to be closing this hatch, and then we're going to be seeing Yui flying up into the sky. So very well played by Potato Savage there. That means that Requiem needs to achieve a 4K3 win con. 4K2 is tie, so it's going to be a pretty difficult result to meet, but we're going to be taking a short intermission and we're going to set up the game. So don't go anywhere, everyone. We'll be back very shortly.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to DeadByOCE as we head into the final game of the night. We saw an incredible performance from Deception's Doctor last game, where they set a 4K2 Tycon for Requiem here, which means to win the whole set, they need a 4K3, which on Doctor is kind of impossible unless Deception completely fumble everything, which I don't think is going to be happening, because after the Spirit set, they seem to be pretty switched on. But with a Static Blast coming out here, we do find 2 survivors. We find Rez and we find Potato Savage. It looks like Gabu is going to be chasing Rez first. Let's see if he can have as much of a juicy chase with Doctor as he did last game on Blight. He's going to be playing pretty safe as he runs into the corrupt gens, going to allow Deception to rotate down to the Shack side of the map to play around the unblocked gens here. It doesn't look like the gen spread is too bad for Deception here. Oh, Rez playing fantastically around this filler pad here as he peels away. Fantastic party from him. He is absolutely locked into Nightmare.
Yeah, Rezi is kind of MVP of the night. His chases on the Blight set and on the Doctor set have been insanely good, so very nice pathing from Rezi there. He's going to be taking a hit there, and I can only assume it's going to be going towards the main building. The shock from Gabu not quite reaching Rezi here. And Rezi going to be still playing around this main building. Maybe someone is coming in for a body block, but I highly doubt it. They're going to be cranking those generators because that is their win con. They need to pop 4 gens to be able to meet the win con. Oh, 3, sorry, my bad. 3 gens to meet the win con, and a beautiful stun coming through from Resi there. That was way too close, and does have this pallet gym over at 9 to work with. And it's just, this chase is going on for far too long, and Gabu not able to kind of catch up. It does land a really nice shock, so this should result in a down. So that is going to be a down, and hopefully Gabu can find a pain res hook nearby and stop the first gen from popping, which I assume should be popping any moment now, but it looks like Gabu has his pain res hook stacked towards the bottom side of the map, I can only assume, but this is a very, very long way. I don't know if Resi wiggles. No, it would have been very, very close. Really, really bad if Resi did wiggle off there, but it's so far away from all of Gabu's gens, so we do see some gen progress happening over at Shaq, and we see someone coming in for the quick unhook, and then it's the second gen popped as well. So they need to pop 1 more generator to meet Wincon or Tycon? Sorry, Swan?
Yeah, I fumbled the Wincon earlier. It is. They do need to pop 4 gens. It's 4K1.
You had me gaslighting myself, man.
I can't do basic maths. I'm sorry. But yeah, it is going to be 4 gens need to pop for the Wincon, which they're already very much on the way there. Gabu committing to the tunnel out of the res, which I don't think is going to buy him a lot. He hasn't used his pop goes the Weasel. He's not going to get a pain res over this hook either. We see a head-on from the Shaq. Oh, what a fantastic way to buy distance, and he's going to be dropping the chase now. So there's no chance he's catching up to Resi. Going to be taking a chase onto LV Duck now. He needs to essentially 2-tap Duck here, have any chance of even tying this game, because he needs to tie right now. It's 2 gens right now. Hell, I'd even say that they're probably tripling a generator just to get it out as soon as possible. But a very nice, well-timed shock here might actually result in a hit onto Gabu's end, but he's going to be going for another shock to stay to do it. And that's going to be a tag onto LV Duck. He's going to be running straight back to Shaq as he was the head-on play, and no Shaq power was used from Resi. So a significant amount of time going to be brought here on the side of Deception, but a decently timed shock. He's not going to be able to pre-throw the power, meaning he's going to have to do another lap of the Shack in order to get any value of it. But no, instead, peeling away for a filler. Fantastic pathing for Deception here tonight. Learning from a lot of their mistakes in the Spirit set, I dare say, and does he make that window? Not quite, still having the lingering shock effect from the Doctor denying him that vault.
That was an insane chase coming through from LB Duck, and we do see the 4th gen pop, so that is going to be the win taken by Deception. So extremely well played. And the last gen as well does pop. Oh my gosh, Deception were locked in tonight. Locking in after that Spirit set. I guess, like, I think a lot of people tip towards Ruthless Raccoons and for Requiem to win tonight, but a lot of people are going to be very disappointed in losing a lot of tips and predictions. So very well played to Deception and Ruthless Raccoons. So we are going to be initiating this last chase onto Riley. We don't have no end in play, because why would you run it with the Wincon? But I'm going to be chasing around this main building. This is a very, very long chase, and they might even be able to get some outs here if someone's been sitting on that gate over down at 6 this whole time. They might be able to get everyone out the gate.
Yeah, this is looking like just a 4 out here, which is, Jesus, 2-staging a Doctor is insane. Deception doing absolutely phenomenally tonight, and also Inferno as well, having fantastic results all around. It has been an absolute night of the underdogs, and sort of showing OCE that, hey, you know, these teams aren't the same they were last season, and you really got to pick up, you got to pay attention, because they're not pushovers, you know. They can fight back, and they can do it very well. So I think a lot of people are going to be very surprised by how a lot of these sort of newer teams that were from last season, the season before, performing, because they've been practicing, they've been getting better, they've been scrimming over the course of the past couple months where there was a lot of downtime. So I think people need to sort of think about these tips a bit more and sort of give these teams a bit more credit than they're owed.